to the Children of Primus.
All right, here we go.
And we are back.
I'm back. I'm hydrated. I'm staying in my lane.
There you go. And Mario first in the comments says, "Hi guys, welcome Mario."
Oh, one more.
And I realized promised Impactor that we show his recent video, and we didn't get a chance to, so I will show that before we bring in our special guest for the evening. So here is another quick stop animation that Impactor Productions has done. So check him out, Impactor Productions on YouTube.
Okay, the camera trick was good.
Yeah. I really like the stuff he's worked on. It's just improved from over the years.
Yeah. That's what all you gotta do if you want to get better. Just do a thing over and over again a lot.
That's it.
Yeah.
Untrue. I was good in a race car before I even climbed in one.
Forza doesn't count.
Forza? Oh. Oh, wait a minute here.
I don't know. That was just the first racing game that came to mind. Well, the first one was Mario Kart, but I know that one doesn't count.
No. Real ones.
What is that? Tropical Endurance 2016 Championship. Oh, Christ. Look at that.
Actual race cars. All sorts within our collective.
Mm-hmm. Mad drifting skills.
Drifting's for wusses.
I was just checking out the Big Angry Trev's website again.
Okay.
I don't think I was here last time.
Oh.
Join the... You got to become a Trevolutionary then, Fear.
Is that any relation to the... Ooh.
Yeah, if anybody's watching wants to check him out, it's bigangrytrev.com.
Yeah.
It was the second largest Transformers collection in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Song from every Transformers movie listed alphabetically. This is the type of thing that I would make a list out of.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. It's a great site. I love his site. I've been there a few times.
Well, you know what? Let's
I'm glad he's come back.
let's bring him on, and you could tell him directly. Welcome, sir.
We were talking backstage before you all got here.
Well, guys, thank you very much for having me back.
Absolutely.
Hey, mate. So, I bought a new webcam because the picture wasn't very good last time I was on, but it's only the second time I've used it. And does everything look incredibly pale to you guys? Like,
it does seem like you're a little washed out. Seems like you're a little washed out.
Yeah.
You got a strong sepia tone going on there.
I don't know. It's all like this is white, but everything else, like I've usually got the complexion of an inflamed hemorrhoid. You know, I'm looking okay. I'm okay. I look all right like that. So, but no, thank you very much for having me back on. So I was on about 6 months ago and was by far the most enjoyable one of these I've done. So, yeah, really happy to be back on the show. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, that was a week I was away. God.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, man, switch us around. Give him center stage there.
There you go.
Now, Trev, the last time we had you on, didn't you have the largest collection at the time?
No, there's a collector up. I'm in New South Wales, which is sort of Central Australia. I live out in the bush, and there's a collector up in Queensland, which is Northern Australia, and he would have twice as many as I do. I've got well over 5,000 figures and then a few thousand pieces of merchandise. He would have probably around 11,000 figures. But then, whereas I've got the Transformatorium here on the farm and I've got it set up, I'll do a little bit for the viewers at home, it's all, they went the webcam. Anyway, there we go. Whereas I've got this, the gentleman up in Queensland, he just rents a little apartment and, there we go, he rents a little apartment and I think he just lives in a labyrinth of crates. So, I think he sleeps on like an army cot and he's just sort of deathly afraid of an earthquake because, just hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Transformers will crush him during the night.
But we know where he's at, so we could go take him out, right? We need you to be number one.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to know.
Look, I didn't buy a harpoon just for the fun of it. I have plans. One day, gone. But let's keep that on the down low between all of us and the thousands of people watching on the internet.
Yeah. Everybody just be
Just
cool.
that, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still at number 2 here. Sorry?
Last night, Trev, I walked through here and I just did a count of everything that I have on display in this room.
Right.
And this is 1,200.
I think I
this is
remember
1,286. Yeah.
Very nice.
This is
I remember your Unicron display from last time, I think. Very nice. So, well, yeah, I know I'm somewhere between the 5,000 and 6,000 mark, but I buy them faster than I count them. So, that's not, but that's getting through like 35 years worth or whatever it is now, 30 years worth. So I'll catch up one day. But I don't know, I just got like about 45 blokies. So, that's just added to the pile. They're fun little dudes.
You didn't happen to send me a box of them, did you?
Check the mail. Someone might have done like one of those dashes at your door. So, not that I'm surveilling you. But...
Somebody sent me a case of blokies to put together on the show.
Oh, right.
And
it's an ongoing mystery.
We have no idea who did it.
Oh, if someone's going to send you something random, that's not bad to get.
Oh, it was fun.
I think that happened to my brother-in-law. He got like some power tool that he really wanted. It wasn't a random power tool. It was one he definitely wanted. But it was delivered to his house, and to this day, it's 2 years later, he has no idea who sent it to him. Wow. No one's claimed responsibility. So the most I get in the mail anonymously is like little notes saying, "We know it was you. We know it was you."
We know it was you because we watched that episode of Children of Primus.
Exactly. That's it. You guys have put me out in the public spotlight.
Yeah, your website had nothing to do with that. No.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I actually just had issues with my website because now it's almost predominantly Transformers. But when I started it 8 or 9 years ago, I just tell tales from my life and adventures I'd had and so on and so forth. And a lot of them, I just got complaints about some of them because people just reacted to photos instead of taking the context. So, for instance, I used to do stand-up comedy many, many years ago, and I had a prop which was a big rubber phallus about that big. And I used to run out and hit people in the audience with it, as you do. and I'd written a little story about that prop and how it took on a life of its own, and it used to live in the refrigerator where I lived, and every time I moved house, he moved in the fridge, and the housemates were all cool with it. And then years later, like in the last couple of months, I got a complaint. You're trying to sell sex toys on your website. So like, no, I'm not. This is a comedy prop from 20-something years ago. Like I wrote something for a UK magazine, and it was about if men will become redundant. And it just so happened on the front of that magazine, it had a picture of, some white powder and a rolled up banknote, because it was talking about the drug problems in London at the time. And I got a complaint. You're promoting drug usage to the children. And I'm sort of like, no, that's the front cover of the magazine. The article's about, will sperm donors replace men? Yeah.
Promoting drugs to children.
Also good
yeah,
for
but at the
kids.
same time, no. I mean, what? No.
That's it. So it's a little weird, but it's probably good I stick to mainly Transformers content these days. It seems to be one of the few things that doesn't get politicized too much. Well, not here in Australia at any rate.
Yeah, it's funny.
Rumble
Usually,
is blue, Frenzy is red.
Oh, let's not do that.
We have our own controversies.
It's funny. Usually before a guest comes on, I do research. I didn't have time to do that this time because I've been moving house like for a month straight. And so I looked through your website. It's like Transformer stuff, and then a guide to buying chickens in the middle of that. Yeah, like right on the homepage.
Well, the scary thing is, I think the highest amount of hits that any of my articles on my website has had is how to save a premature duckling.
Oh,
that gets. Well, I live on a farm, so I do little farm stuff too, and that gets hundreds and hundreds of hits every day, like more than anything else. Just like I've got a little TikTok account, and I do Transformer stuff on there. But then I put up a 90-second video of my daughter at her school's Easter hat parade, and she built a hat like that, and she's walking around trying to balance it. And it goes for 90 seconds, and that got 30,000 views. Whereas my 20-minute dissection of what's right and wrong with the latest Titan-sized Transformer, a couple of hundred views.
Yep.
You know what? Those couple hundred views are the real fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's it. So, well, the worst thing is a local butcher just gave me some jalapeno sausages to try out. So I tried those out, and then I went a bit stupid and dipped the jalapenos in hot sauces and ate them and so on. And I live in a very small town in rural Australia. And I put that video up on TikTok. And for weeks now, everywhere I go, especially because I sometimes work at the local high school, I hear, "Hey, with a jalapeno sausages, sir." Like, yeah, really? Like, it's just everywhere.
Cool. Cody's saying, "Hey everyone, how's it going? Been a while." And welcome, Cody. It's true, I haven't seen you in the comments for a while. We have a Big Angry Trev from Australia joining us this evening. So actually, I'm going to say, stepping away from Transformers for a moment, what else do you do aside from owning every Transformer in Australia?
So, well, I've got a hobby farm, so I've got goats and I've got ducks, and I've got about 125 acres of bushland, so spend a lot of time on that. And then, I've got my family, I've got my wife and the 2 kids and my son, who we talked about last time, named Orion.
Yep.
He loves, he spends a lot of his time out here in the Transformatorium. And then I think we briefly, at the end of last show, touched on my OnlyFans account. That's expanding well. So, yeah,
Subscribe.
I've noted if you shave the hair off the top of your foot and paint your toenails pink, they don't know it's a man's foot. They don't know. Yeah, it's fine. And the beauty is, with Australian content, just slap a bit of Vegemite on there. You know, put a little stuffed koala in the background. That's worth 100 new subscribers right there.
Quite the
I'm just saying
business
I
model.
can tell because you can always see the Adam's apple, but
Yes.
When it's just the foot.
Film from here up. From there up, it's fine.
You know, that
I'm sorry for
secondary
Adam's apple.
foot-based
From the
Adam's
ankle
apple.
down.
the Adam's apple on your foot, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Adam,
Maybe if the foot is
Speaking of
dipping on the Adam's apple,
what a funny
that'd be worth
coincidence.
200,000 followers.
Adam in the comments says, hello all. So we're not speaking of you specifically, Adam. What timing?
Oof. All right.
So yeah, no, that's what I do. Yeah, the family and the hobby farm, and I work full time, of course, and then I've got my idiotic obsession with hot sauces and hot foods, and which always comes back to bite me at about 4 a.m. and I lose about a quarter of my body weight.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a heck of a
you
diet.
think I'd stop?
No wonder you
That's
always
it.
have the
You think
complexion of a
I'd stop
hemorrhoid. Look
doing
what
it
you're
like
eating.
Oh, you should see it. Like if I get really angry or really hot, or I've had some hot sauce, it's bright red. It's like that. Who was that got to find shooter? It's like that figure sitting in the foreground there. That's what I look like. But yeah, this paleness works for me. I do.
Great, we got our guest tonight, the big angry stoplight.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever found a way to do any sort of content that combines Transformers and hot sauces together? Because I think that'd be the key.
Like a Hot Ones episode
Oh.
with Transformer figures.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Oh.
Especially Starscream's bitch ass. That'd be hilarious.
Yes.
Trying to feed Starscream some 1 million scold freaking, ghost pepper, burn your butt.
What a good production for some good voice actors, because sometimes they do hot ones in groups, so just get a good Megatron Starscream Soundwave trio and have them all doing hot ones and reacting differently to all the sauces.
Why am I thinking Starscream and Swindle? Because Starscream would be like, "Oh, I can handle any hot sauce," and he's just going in on it, and Swindle's like, "Oh, I'll bet you Trypticon that you can't handle this hot sauce."
I'm telling you, Swindle, I can.
That wasn't bad. I didn't mind it. What was I watching the other day? I just had it playing in the background. I was not a fan of the Combiner Wars. The computer animated Combiner Wars cartoons and Titan Returns cartoons and so on.
Nobody was.
I didn't.
Nobody, not a single person.
Yeah.
Well, nobody saw
But
it.
I did know the Starscream voice. Just when he first appears in that first episode of the Titans Return one, before his spirit gets shoved into Trypticon, I was thinking, that's not a bad Starscream voice. It actually wasn't too bad. It's probably about the only part of the entire show I enjoyed.
Let's go 90 for you. That was
I think I know what that
streaming
was.
service that was on. So I looked it up and it said Go 90. I'm like, what kind of site did I end up on?
Okay,
I
so
don't know what Go 90 is. I'm questioning the safety of my computer right now. Yeah.
that was so the guy that did Starscream on that show, that was Frank Todaro, and he's become like the go-to guy to be G1 Starscream. Really famously, recently, he was the guy who subbed in for him when they redubbed the first episode of More Than Meets the Eye. So he was, and he was there in the studio in an outfit that was like almost a Starscream costume, and he was doing some very good face acting while he was doing all of his lines against Frank Welker and stuff. So he's the guy. He's the Starscream now. He's like the new Chris Latta.
And mind you, the guy
very
is
good.
fantastic, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Steve Buscemi as Starscream has me sold.
That's true.
Yes.
That
Okay.
has me sold.
That was my favorite moment watching the movie in the theater because my wife Jess was with me, and she didn't know Steve Buscemi was in the movie, and so you hear him talking before you see him, and she's next to me, and she's just like, "Is that Steve Buscemi?" And then you see that it's Starscream, and she just starts laughing because of like what a good casting choice that is.
Doing that Nicholson
It
meme.
was.
Yeah.
Damn right.
I've noted with the reactions to Transformers 1, of course, it's nearly a year later now, it really is a good indicator of how you can't really believe much on social media these days. Because I know, if I go on Facebook and it comes up, Transformer stuff, large busted anime girl, Transformer stuff, and it'll come up, all these articles say, Transformers 1 Part 2 will never happen. And then you see 5 of those, and then an article will come up. Director says because of the public acceptance of Transformers 1, that perhaps Transformers 1 Part 2 may happen down the line, and so on. And so, it's just so much conjecture, really, isn't it?
The
and a lot of
director
it's so much debate.
Yeah, that recent thing where they announced they got a bunch of projects in the works, like 4 or 5 of them. One of them is by the director of Transformers 1. We don't know if it's a sequel, but he's still in the mix, potentially involved in one of the things they do next. So, at the very least, he's going to be making something else, probably.
Yeah, because remember, Hasbro didn't say that they're not no more Transformers movies can be made. They're just saying they're not backing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not an impossibility.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, maybe more animated movies is the way to go because the overhead is a bit less depending on how many celebrities you pay to be voice actors.
Well, that's right. Well, is there any news? The next one they were thinking of live action was the G.I. Joe crossover one.
Yeah,
and I haven't heard anything about that for a long time. That seems to have just disappeared into the ether.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't said anything about it aside from the fact that it's still happening, but we'll see. Like, they haven't started shooting yet. They said they cast Chris Hemsworth at one point. We don't know if he's playing a person or if he's Optimus again, like he was in Transformers 1. And that's the only announcement we ever got from it. I don't know. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see it. There's a very.
Man. They had a hard time getting the G.I. Joe movies right.
That's true. I'm just think there's a very long, proud tradition of them crossing over in the comics. Like, I think every 5 years, roughly, they do one, and there's some good stories in there. So I think there's a lot of material to mine for a movie if they want to.
Well, see, we didn't have G.I. Joe here in Australia.
Oh.
It was like, G.I. Joe, all-American hero, and we ain't American. We ain't American.
Did you guys have...
I resemble
Did
that
you
remark.
have Action Force like the UK did?
Pardon, sorry?
Did you have Action Force like the UK did?
Action Force? No.
Yeah.
We had Blinky Bill.
Who?
He's a koala, right? And he wears knickerbockers, and he gets into all kinds of strife. This one time, he stole Nutsy's gum nuts. He did. Oh, it was a right to do. So we had that.
You had some.
I have no idea.
So I had never heard of G.I. Joe until I picked up the Generation 2 comics.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so what's that, late 90s? Late 90s, around 96 or so on? And I'm sort of okay, don't know who these guys are, but they seem interesting.
Yeah. Skippy the Bush Kangaroo.
Skip. That's interestingly, I used to be on a TV show with the dad from Skippy the Bush Kangaroo.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Way before your time.
Okay. Think Lassie. Do you know who Lassie is? You know, the dog.
Yeah.
Woof, woof, you know, it's Timmy in the well. Yeah. It's that, but a kangaroo. So it's all like, what's that, Skip? They're selling heroin out by the docks. We've got to contact the police. So it was that kind of stuff. But
If you all ever saw Crocodile Dundee, the original Crocodile Dundee, or no, it was the second one. The second one, when he goes back home and the guys are poaching and he picks up the kangaroo. No, it was the first one. He picks up the kangaroo and puts his rifle underneath of its arm, and he's standing behind the kangaroo, and the guy's like, hang on, I gotta have a piss. And he says, shine your light over there. And they look, and there's this kangaroo standing there, and he's got a rifle pointing back at him, and he goes, what? And then it starts blowing the lights off of the truck. And so they all get the hell out of there, and he lays the kangaroo back down. He says, thanks, Skippy. No one else got that. I did.
I can't imagine having a kangaroo like Lassie because, what's that? Yeah, and then pop.
I only discovered about 3 weeks ago kangaroos can growl. I did not know that. And I live on a property with hundreds and hundreds of kangaroos. And one had gotten into my hay shed that was stealing all the goat's hay, but it had somehow locked the gate behind it. So I was all like, you stupid thing, because kangaroos will bounce past you within a couple of meters. They don't care. They're just trying to get away from the predator. But this one was trapped and it's knew it. And I went to open the gate to let it out, and it's like, roar, roar. And I was like, holy, I didn't know you could do that. Suddenly this,
is this legal?
This little this rather tame suit, like, it sounded like it was going to go me if I let it out, so I just left it locked in and came back a later time and it dug itself out. Crocodile Dundee, that's pretty much the closest we get to the History Channel here in Australia. That's it.
That's not a transformer. This is a transformer.
That's not a Unicron. That's a Unicron.
That's not a Unicron, mate. That's a Unicron.
There we go.
Yeah, he is.
I cried.
Wait, I got the only Unicron I got is the little.
Oh yes.
The little prototype ball with the limbs. I
like him. I think he's cool.
Yeah, it's based on the G1 prototype.
My ex-wife.
You know what? That Unicron is just waiting for like a comic strip series to happen.
Yeah, to me this is what peak performance looks
cartoons.
Like. Yeah, he's like do on my way to eat planets.
It's like, hey Unicron, how are you doing today?
Boy, I'm hungry.
I will gladly pay you Tuesday for 2 planets today.
Easy there,
there you go.
You're going to end up respawning at another 10 chill.
We just had a Popeye reference talking about going back in time.
I watched that stuff when I was a kid too. It's public domain. That means they'll rerun it to eternity.
Yes.
Yes, but when we watched it, we had to plan to watch it. You can just click on it and watch it anytime.
That's true. That's today. I'm not that young. I still had VHSs and analog TV.
Oh gosh.
Riding the school bus home, and you catch a train, and you're like, "Damn it! I'm going to miss the beginning of G.I. Joe."
So Trev, why you don't seem very angry? Why are we calling you Big Angry Trev?
So back many years ago, I used to do stand-up comedy, and I used to go on stage and I'd rant and rave. So if you think of a poor man's Bill Burr, perhaps. And so, it was Big Angry Trev, and then it kind of just stuck. So, because if you Google Big Trev, because even though I'm not particularly tall in stature, because my personality was always, oh, there's Big Trev. But if you Google Big Trev, there's like 8 million Big Trevs out there. So it was just to differentiate. Like, the rage can still come up. Don't get me wrong. What? Somebody give me the Rumble thing. The Rumble Frenzy thing.
Some people say Rumble is red, Frenzy is blue.
Ah, for fuck's sake! You started it! Just stop! Stop! You don't know, man! You weren't there at the start of G1! You don't know!
You scared, set him away.
All right, Trev's my spirit animal because I keep myself from doing that kind of shit every week.
You know, all I can see right now is someone's just like, is like, what color is Rumble and Frenzy? And it's like, that's my secret. I'm always angry.
That's my secret. I'm always rumbling around in a frenzy.
Oh God, Spin's gonna respawn.
No, that's a short waiting to happen.
Scary thing is, I've always been, not to bring up that whole discussion, but I've always been of the toy colours thing. But I think when I was doing some cataloguing the other day, I realised I've got nearly as many red frenzies as I do rumbles now. I think in my personal collection of figures, it's almost 50-50.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I've still got more red rumbles than I do red frenzies, but it's probably because I've got a lot of Japanese imports and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the thing that I always come back to is the rumble being blue comes from the cartoon getting them wrong, but in Japan they never made that mistake because when they redubbed it into Japanese, they just switched the names back. So the blue guy with all the screen time was called Frenzy again.
That's right. So actually, hang on, if I get...
So that tends to be why most of the toys still stick with the original Red Rumble, Blue Frenzy color scheme, because the other half of the world, there was never any sort of a switch up.
I've got these two from
Transformers
Japan.
Prime, yeah.
That's right. So, but these are the Japanese. But I like how I think there's some way you can join their hoods together, so it's like a big Decepticon symbol. But yeah, whereas I believe the US versions, this one was Frenzy. With the Japanese, this one is Rumble, and then he came with little arms microns that would turn into jackhammers that attached to his fists, which were really cool. So
yeah, the arms microns were neat.
Yeah. Well, I only recently just stopped playing it, but I played for about 9 years the Transformers Earth Wars mobile game. And it was interesting to see a lot of those arms micron characters come up in that.
Oh, really?
They really went the whole... Yeah, so, well, they had your robots you'd use in battle, but then you had combiners and you had battle masters. And they were like, little blokes that attached to your big blokes. And they obviously ran out of Micromasters and Target Master characters to use, so they started using Arms Micron characters. Oh. Which I thought was... And a lot of those toys are, like, quite cool.
Yeah. Earth Wars is a big blank spot for me. And in fact, I'm on the Transformers Wiki servers, and I know a lot of the people there are struggling to get, like, article coverage of stuff that happened in the game because not a lot of those guys play it either.
Yeah. Well,
little guys
I kept with it. There we go. That's like little arms micron blokes who, I don't know, like some kind of octopus. They're all Cyclopses, the characters too. For some reason, they've all got one eye, and then you just convert that. And then it's a bit
Trev, is the young lad in your videos, is that your son? Is the young man in your videos, is that your son?
All the legal content that I make with young children is my son, yes.
Fascinating way to put it.
Mhm.
I know. Now we have the federal police listening in after a comment like that.
Oh, I should rephrase that. Your Transformatorium shows, is that your son co-hosting with you?
Yes, that's my son Orion. So he
awesome.
likes doing it, but he's not that big on being on camera and everything else. So whereas my daughter absolutely loves being on camera, but she has no interest in Transformers. So I think she and I did a video about Stitch toys or something, Lilo and Stitch. She loves those things. Of course, now she's into My Little Kitty. So, but this really is. Are you watching me skydive?
Yes, Mr. Magnus just shared it with me.
I just felt like, hang on, that's me. That's a. I was so young and pretty back then. Anyway, so I actually looked like a giant tapeworm in that blue costume. But yeah, my son has an encyclopedic knowledge of everything that's in this shed, and he and I make little videos, and he comes to all the events with me, and he's done enough with me now that even like the Hasbro reps here in Australia know who he is. So when
nice.
when Hasbro Australia sent me, you can see that's a signed Transformers 1 Bumblebee figure.
Nice.
Lovely.
So that just got sent to me by Hasbro Australia ages ago, just to say thanks for all the coverage you've been giving us. They addressed it to Big Angry Trev and Orion. They didn't just send it to me, they sent it to us.
Since Magnus brought up this video, what is it like skydiving, and how many times have you done it?
I'll tell you what, if you can go back a few seconds, you will see the scaredest I've ever been in my life. Like if you can go back and do a pause when I first flew out of the plane.
Put that up on the
what
board.
happened was, when my wife gave me keep going, Ree. I left. The problem is my wife gave me a ticket. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely. Now I'm happy. It's an absolute rush, but my wife bought me the tickets about 6 months before I went. So I had 6 months worth of anxiety built up.
Oh, God.
And I'm Googling, and it turned out 3 people, where I went skydiving, 3 people had died in a skydiving accident at that exact location.
Jesus Christ.
2 days before she bought the tickets.
Wow.
So she's getting texts at work going, "You're trying to bloody kill me or something, woman."
So you knew that going in, that people had died?
Well, yes, I was very aware.
Christ.
But I had a friend come with me. The other bloke in the video, he's a fellow Transformers fan. Going up scares, because it's a tiny little plane, and the door on the plane is a translucent plastic.
Oh.
It's not like you're hermetically sealed in, and it's rattling and everything, and then you're just strapped like some bulbous baby to the gut of some alpha male behind you. And he just goes, "We're jumping out of the plane now." And the first few seconds, most terrified I've been in my life, but then the rush hits, and after you've done it, it's like I felt the same with bungee jumping. Once I did it, I wanted to go straight back up and do it a second time and a third time and a 10th time and everything else.
Wow.
But with bungee jumping, I did that in New Zealand. And the only reason I had the courage, because I don't like heights, to jump at the end was because there was the person in front of me in line was, and I was maybe 27, 28-year-old male, was a 16-year-old girl with a G-string halfway up to her shoulder blades. And she jumped off quite happily. And I'm sort of like, okay, is she going to do it? And am I going to chicken out? And so like, but whereas you're supposed to go, wee, like that, I sort of just went, tipped off the edge.
Yeah, that's exactly what
I didn't have
the...
But I would highly recommend both experiences to people. They're really fun. I haven't been skydiving since. The friend and I that did it together, we swore we'd go once a year, but then life just gets in the way. But I highly recommend both to everybody out there.
I've bungee jumped. I have not skydived yet. Me and my fiance, we both want to. So that's not an issue. It's just time, money. It's quite expensive here in the States to do it because of the insurance.
Whereas in Australia, they don't care. They just throw you at the airplane.
I've reverse bungee jumped, and that's awesome. You ever want to get the feeling of what it's like to be the projectile in a trebuchet? Where they strap you into a chair and then they crank the bands up like that, and then they open up the hook and you get launched straight up. It's like 8 G's of force.
Oh wow!
You feel like your eyeballs are going to come out your asshole. Yeah, it's. But I've bungee jumped multiple times. Cool. I prefer going by my ankles, completely upside down, as opposed to just being strapped in like that, like a kid in a bouncy swing.
That just sounds.
There is something about getting. Oh no, it's fun. It's worth doing.
At the barbecue festival when I was like 16 years old, me and my dad were walking away from the cooking competition, and they had it set up. They had like a 120-foot crane set up in the air, and they just lowered the whole booth down, and they'd take the next person up, and they'd take them up to 120 feet, and then they'd jump out, and then they'd lower them down with the crane. They'd unhook them, and then they'd bring the whole thing back down, load the next people up, and go up. My dad said, "Them people are crazy jumping out of that." And I said, "If I had the money to do it, I'd do it." And he said, "You would?" And I said, "Yeah, I would." And he goes, "Well, here's the money. Go do it." I was like,
way to put you on the spot.
Oh, well, I guess we're doing this then.
That's excellent. Your dad called you on it. That's cool. And I love the fact he thought it was too dangerous for him to do it, but he's done. Sorry?
I said, and now anytime I see it, I get in line for it. I just got to make sure that they can handle the 300-pound man now. But zip lining is my new passion. I love to zip line.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Every time I go to Vegas, I zip line over the strip.
Oh, do they have that in Vegas, do they?
Oh, yeah. Right down the middle of the street. Right down the middle of the strip. You're going right through the big tunnel with all the lights. Everything. You zip line. They've got 3 lines there. You just, and you're Superman style. Now you're in a harness that holds you like that. Holds you flat to the ground.
Cool.
And so you're Superman style over the top of everybody.
Nice.
And so by the time you get to the end, you're just covered in like poker chips and prostitutes and magic acts and so on.
Oh, you're about 25 feet above them, so.
Oh, okay. I just gave you 100% of my knowledge on Las Vegas.
Well, you're not wrong about the rest of the stuff. It's there. And it's right there because it's all legal there.
I do remember staying in a little backpackers hostel with my girlfriend somewhere in Italy. And unbeknownst to us, when we booked it, it was the main street. Was it Florence or Milan? Oh, no, it was in Spain, sorry. It was in Spain. It was Madrid. And unbeknownst to us, when we booked it, that was the street where all the prostitutes hung out. So you'd go out, and there was like dozens and dozens of them lined up either side of the street. And I was fine because I was always with my girlfriend. But I remember one, and this is like 10 in the morning, I came out of the backpackers hostel and she'd forgotten her purse or something. So she went back in to grab whatever she was grabbing. And because I was a male by myself on that street, I think I got about 5 steps before, you know, a video game where you go close enough to the bad guys and then the non-playable characters realize you're there and start moving towards you. It was like that. Suddenly, hookers were detaching themselves from the wall and heading towards me, and I'm like, "I'm fine, I'm good." Like, oh look, there's my girlfriend right there. We're fine.
You entered the area of effect.
Mhm.
That's it. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, I get you on, having to go back, to something that's that big of a rush. Because as soon as I climb out of a race car, I
Mhm.
want back in. I want to go back out. I want to go back out on that track. So I totally understand the need to go back to that rush as soon as you hit the ground.
Oh, it's definitely because you've got that flood of endorphins, and your body's, craving that once again. Which is, probably why we all own so many Transformers now, because when you go online and you press buy, you get your little flood of endorphins, and then your toy turns up and you go, oh, that was nice, and sit it to the side, and then you want that another little flow of endorphins, so you go on and buy 10 more. So I know personally I've got such a backlog of figures now that I haven't opened.
You can save them for a rainy day, basically.
Here's a bunch of, here we go. I had a bunch of figures. So here we go. We got Ratchet, Trail, Double Punch. I thought that was a nice little reference, a name for that guy, Double Punch, because that was a Generation 1 Deluxe Action Master that turned into a Scorpion. So I thought that was a very obscure reference that they took that toy that was like, I think it was only a European exclusive.
Yeah.
And they took the name from that G1 toy that turned into a Scorpion, and then, decades and decades later, used it for that guy.
Yeah. And Double Punch, the Action Master, was even supposed to be a new version of the Japanese character Black Zarak, but they didn't want to call him that for the Western market, so they came up with the name Double Punch to give to him.
Like, he's got the Zarak head, doesn't he? He's got that shaped head. Well, no, the latest guy I opened, my son and I opened just this yesterday, and
What's that?
why?
Oh, it's
That
Silverbolt.
is, yeah. He works as a shield. Yeah, if you think of him as a shield, so like ding, 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 he works fine. The rest of it, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
So,
It is weird what they did with him. Because, okay, so they did Menasor as the commander, and the way they engineered him was the front of him changed into Motormaster, and then his trailer unfolded into like a skeleton of a combiner, and then you stuck the cars and trucks onto his limbs, because that's what Menasor looked like in the G1 cartoon, because they animated him so strangely. Like he was fully just a big robot with the cars stuck on him. And now they're doing Superion, and for some reason they've decided to do him the same way, even though that's not how he worked on the cartoon. So the front half of that thing changes into Silverbolt, and then the back half changes into most of a combiner. But because, Silverbolt didn't have a convenient truck trailer, it's just a bunch of stuff that you stick to the back of him now. You can take it off and throw it away, but still.
oh,
Crazy.
it's truly terrible. It's really it is the worst figure I have gotten in a very long time. In a very long time. Other people may feel differently out there. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but no, I was very impressed with the Motor Master. Silverbolt not so much. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Onslaught, because that's going to be the next one. That's going to be the next combiner group that's coming out. In fact, I think Vortex has already been released. or is about to be released. So it makes you wonder, is Onslaught going to have some extra big chunky thing on the back, or what's going to happen there? I hope it doesn't. I hope they can figure out a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Pardon?
He's at least like a big flatbed truck, so him pulling something wouldn't look as weird as what Silverbolt has going on there. Yeah. I don't own the Menasor Combiner, but my understanding is the advantage of them doing it that weird way is it makes the Combine mode really stable and really posable, which was like a problem in Combiner Wars. A lot of those guys really liked to come apart and really couldn't pose very well. So that's the trade-off, I guess.
Well, I ended up getting it. I've got the Combiner Wars Menasor, the Unite Warriors Menasor, and then the whatever the latest one was called. But the latest one, I've actually kept them in their vehicle modes because I was a purist. I was always, oh, hang on, it's Motormaster. Where's his trailer? It's like these days I own hundreds of Optimuses, so I will usually only buy an Optimus if he comes with a trailer. But all the Motormasters for years didn't come with a trailer, so I kept him like that. But then for my Combiner Wars Menasor, I ended up, and I very, very rarely buy anything third party. I'm pretty much just the main Hasbro and Takara lines. But I did end up getting a third party upgrade kit for that Menasor just because he looked terrible compared to the other combiners. And the other combiners didn't look that fantastic.
Yeah, it is a trade-off at least.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna say we're almost almost within our 1 hour of our stream. As before we sign off for the evening, how many toy shows do you guys have in Australia in terms of like any Transformers specific toy shows or just toy shows in general?
As in shows made about toys or cartoons that are designed to sell toys?
Oh, sorry. No, like conventions, I should say. Yeah, like toy show conventions.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was way off base. Look, not many. We've got, I think there is the Australian version of Comic-Con now. We've got a couple of ones called Supernova and another one called Armageddon. But they're not specifically toys. They're like toys, but then they're also pop culture and cosplay and all that kind of thing. And they're not bad, but because I live in the middle of nowhere and Sydney for me is a solid 3-hour drive, it's been many years since I went to any of them. I used to go to them when I was younger and I quite enjoyed them, and I'd have not an Optimus, but I used to dress as Big Angry Trev, a big black coat that went down to my knees, and so I looked like a knockoff of Spike from Buffy. And used to get my photos done with the other cosplayers. But then the last time I went, and I don't know if this is still happening or it was just that year, and I went with a couple of male friends and my girlfriend and about 3 female friends, a big group of us went. And I was the only one dressed up. But all the girls at that particular convention that year, it was like they went through every comic and went, not skimpy enough, not skimpy enough, not skimpy enough, not skimpy enough. Aha! Her superhero costume is just high heel boots and the thong. Yes! That's what I'm going as this year. So I was walking around, and it was a feast for the eyes, but I did not feel comfortable, especially having my girlfriend with me, to do the usual, hey, photos and so on. So, I kind of feel like I'm putting my arm around a stripper doing this. I'm too tame. I'll just go sit in the replica of Kit and have the car talk to me for a while.
He gives you therapy.
That's it. Go, it's okay. It's okay. Everything's fine. They're allowed to dress like that. Do not judge. You know, everyone's got their own bag. But I do remember there was a very nice. She was hosting one of the toy stalls, so I hung out there for a while. But there was a very nice Japanese girl who was done up as some anime character, and I had it wasn't my girlfriend. It was another female friend, and she was with me. And when we walked away after, I think I bought the G1 commemorative Sunstorm, the orange.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that and I walked away, and my female friend leaned over to me and she goes, "Oh my God, I would get the heck out of that." And I was like, "Hey, hello." There's a side of you I didn't know existed. I started hanging out with her a lot more after that. She had some interesting things to say. I would have subscribed to her newsletter.
Is that what they're calling it these days?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. So did you guys, because I know we're running out of time, did you guys, I know most of you were on the last time I was on and asked a lot of questions, but did any of you have any specific questions about the shed, or did you want me to do a little walk tour or anything?
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, definitely do a tour. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm just going to try not to step on all the toys I've got. Okay. So, again, everything's very washed out. Let's have a look. Here we have, this is our clothing section. Our DVDs, books, all that kind of stuff. Let's see, crossovers, Generation 1. I can't see what's on screen, so I hope I'm doing this okay. Just redid the alternators shelf, which was nice. You've got, and I just redid a million of all the tiny figures. Well, and I just realized how many hundreds and hundreds of tiny figures I've got. But
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I think my biggest question is how do you deal with dusting and cleaning everybody? Because that's quite the task.
Oh my Lord. The amount of questions I get, that is the number one question. I even, on my website, I've got Transformatorium, frequently asked questions.
Oh, okay.
That is, because I always get the same questions about the shed. That is like the number one question by far that I get asked. It's really not that bad. So whenever my son and I take figures off the shelf to have a play with, I've got a few rags and I'll give them a little dust while I'm there. But otherwise, this room doesn't see a lot of traffic, so not a lot of dust gets in. It's probably mainly the issues I have, like, so this is the doorway over here. Yeah, there's Australia for you. And right next to the doorway, you can see are a lot of the Movieverse figures. So obviously some little bit of dust gets through there, so I have to dust those fairly often. And then the only real other things is I've noticed black toys show the dust a lot more. So if we take Movieverse Hot Rod, I don't know if you can tell on the cartoon, but on the screen, but yeah, he's got a nice bit of dust on him. But really, it's not too bad. It's not too bad here. It's like an open, airy environment and doesn't see a lot of traffic, and it's all pretty much sealed up. Like, besides the glass door, there's no windows, there's no anything. Like, the shed was specifically designed for this purpose, for this collection. It wasn't like I took an existing building and modified it.
Oh, okay.
So more than anything, actually, it's cobwebs.
Really?
Millions of little spiders get in here. Yeah, I have to do at least once a fortnight. I have to go around with the bug spray and a broom and get rid of all these little strands of cobwebs. Especially, if you look at the shelving, underneath the shelving. So on the undersides of the shelving, it gets all these little strands. And of course, if I was to go up to where the Titans and the second Unicron are up there, yeah, sometimes I have to go up there and I'll find Unicron's ears have got, a couple of daddy long legs or something living on them.
Oof. Not to, I gotta ask. I always hear that the spiders in Australia are extensive.
Yeah, he said earlier that he didn't know that the kangaroos growled. I was like, yeah, but they probably don't growl as loud as their spiders do.
It's the reason the kangaroos don't. It's the reason the kangaroos don't growl is they don't want to attract the attention of the spiders.
Yeah, I believe.
So, honestly, we probably have. It's a lot better now than it was. I'd say it's probably down to less than 24 children a year in Australia will get captured and kidnapped by a spider. It's the numbers are right there. If your child is over the age of 7 or 8, as long as it's as long as the child's got a flick knife or something that can set on fire, then it's probably safe. But I actually think it's become a nanny state because it used to weed out the weakest of us. You say, oh, look, well, little Timmy, he was 9 years old, he got taken by a funnel web. Well, that's a dumb kid. He didn't have his pitchfork on him, survival of the fittest.
One of the comments from Germ says, Trev, you should tell them about the deadly drop bears.
Come on, even I know about that.
I'm in the dark. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, no, but it's a carnivorous version of a koala, and you've actually seen koalas have got claws like that because they live in trees. They've got massive big black claws. If you go and pick up a koala, it's not going to cuddle you. It's going to go Rah! And claw you and so on. And drop bears, yeah, they're carnivorous version. They're probably about twice the size. Have you seen those deep sea fish where they've got the underjaw with the giant teeth sticking out?
Mm-hmm.
They've got those, and they see like the predator. So, it's all just like infrared images and so on. And if you're walking through the bushland and you see a triad of red dots appear on your shoulder, because most drop bears do have an auto cannon that will come out of their shoulder and they're just that's all part of living in the bush, mate. It's just something you got to deal with.
Since you brought up Predator, interesting little bit of trivia. Our man Peter Cullen made the noise, the Predator clicking noise for
he modeled it on a crab or something.
Yeah.
I think he modeled it on a crab was the story. Like he heard the way crabs make these noises and it was the Predator's fangs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
he told like a weirdly...
drop there.
Yeah, he told like a weirdly vivid story about remembering flipping one over on beach.
Puppies were bad, and now we got jungle gorilla bears. Gorilla, G-U-E, not G-O-R, gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's an old photo because semi-automatics are banned here in Australia now. So that's obviously the rest of the photo is real, but the gun
look like good law abiding, good Christian bears there.
Oh, it says they're bloody deadly about 5 feet.
about that. Yeah, roughly. They can be of comfort on a cold winter's night if you're lonely, though, and any port in a storm, really.
Oh, Trev, I just remembered. You also had a Transformers wedding, or at least Transformers vows.
I never looked it up for you. I did promise that last
It
show,
doesn't
didn't
matter.
I?
It doesn't matter. The guy that's officiating for us, he wrote a heck of a sermon that he is going to do, and we're going with it. It's going to be awesome. It's really going to be awesome. And that's coming up in 2
that'll be
months.
cool. Oh, very nice. Congratulate. I do remember you saying last time that you were engaged and everything. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we the groomsmen. I am going to be dressed all in white as like a masterpiece Ultra Magnus, I think. But I'm going to have a Ultra Magnus headpiece that I'm making out of this Optimus Prime headpiece. And then
okay.
Here we go. Yeah, I'll be turning this into Ultra Magnus helmet. My best man, I was drawing a blank. My best man will be dressed in all silver and black metallic, everything, and he'll be wearing the Megatron helmet. For the storyline of where Magnus and Megatron both fought in the pits, and so they had that mutual respect for each other. And then my next groomsman will be dressed as Optimus Prime, as depending on which timeline you go on, as either commander and leader or brothers. And then we're going to have Bumblebee because I have a short, fat groomsman. But he'll be in all yellow, wearing this.
All right.
And then I have all the other helmets, the Fans Toys helmets that the other guys will be wearing, and then we will be officiated by Soundwave. And so Jeremy's going to be dressed in royal blue with the Soundwave helmet on.
Oh, cool. These are the ones I got. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now the question: will the band at the wedding, at the reception, will it be the Cybertronic Spree?
Oh, I wish, but no, we got a professional DJ who is very, very good.
Very cool.
That would be awesome.
That's going far and away. In fact, I'm not sure I've ever heard anyone. I've seen Transformer wedding cakes. At ours, we had the thinly disguised Transformer reading by one of the groomsmen, and then I had on my cravat or whatever it is a little Transformers pin. But and maybe we got the DJ to chuck in a couple of Stan Bush songs at the reception, but I don't think I've ever heard of anyone going to that extent with Transformers at the wedding. I've seen Ghostbusters ones, but Transformer one, I reckon you're taking out the title there, my friend.
When I and the groomsmen enter, we're going to enter to the song "Instruments of Destruction."
Oh.
And I don't know anything about her dress. I have not seen anything about her dress. The only thing I know is that it's purple, and all of her bridesmaids are also going to be dressed in purple, and they're all going to have a Decepticon logo in their hair, holding their hair back.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is the merging of the two sides. The theme for the wedding is called Better Together, and our symbol is the old Children of Primus logo of the half Autobot, half Decepticon symbol meshed together.
Nice. That's cool, dude. That's really
yeah. And you'll like it. Instead of a Unity candle, instead of a unity candle, we're having a unity drink. We are going to mix a drink up on the altar into a separate carafe, and the carafe has the embossed dual symbol on it like that. And then we're going to pour each other a shot out of it. And we're going to invite, we're not going to have a flower girl or a ring bearer. We're going to have a shot girl and a beer dude who are going to pass out drinks right before we do our thing. Yeah.
Oh,
she's going to pass out Jello shots, and he's going to pass out beers.
oh my God! If you weren't already marrying this woman, I'd be instructing you to do so.
This is all her idea. This is all her idea.
Does she have a sister?
She does, actually.
Let me just give you my email address after the show's done. So, yeah, I was planning a trip to the States fairly soon. So
I'm in September. September 20th. You want to be in Owensboro, Kentucky, and come to this thing.
Well, I've never been to the US. I've been all over Europe. I've been all over the Oceania islands. I've never actually been to the US. So it's funny, we were talking about Las Vegas. I know lots of people have been to Las Vegas, and that's been one of the few things that's kind of tempted me. And I was considering going to BotCon back when BotCon existed. But damn, man, I think I'd pay good money to be at that wedding. That sounds awesome. I've got to see first videos. Just again, if you accidentally put an extra invitation in the mail, with an overseas stamp on it, just that's fine.
After the show, once we get away from everybody, you give me that address, and I'll get it in the mail tomorrow.
Oh, the challenge is on.
Yeah, most of us in the U.S. base plan on being there.
So I get to go to a Transformer.
It's going to be a good time. And my dad is doing the cooking. We're going to be having barbecue chicken, and mutton, which is sheep. And me and my dad, we used to competition cook, so it's going to be good eats.
Oh,
yeah. We won the Ohio River Arts Festival barbecue contest 3 years in a row, and we qualified 9 years.
Oh my God!
Nuts.
Okay, way back earlier in this episode of your show, someone asked what were my other interests beside, and I said hobby farming. Meat is that's why the local butcher gives me sausages and stuff to try, because if it's not hewn from the carcass of a dead animal, I'm not particularly interested in it. Really, this I call that Noah's Ark. I call it Noah's Ark because I want it to contain 2 of every animal. So,
remember that. Gotta remember that one.
Yeah. The problem was when I was in Vanuatu, I tried flying fox, which is a type of bat. Tasted terrible, but it was an animal I hadn't eaten, so I was like, righto, there's a weird animal, I'm eating that. It's why you don't go on nature walks with me. And then years later, COVID happened, and my kids are saying, "Oh, how did COVID happen?" And they go, "Well, nobody's sure at the moment. Right now, one of the theories is somebody ate a diseased bat, and they got from that, and it passed on, and so on and so forth." And so, "Oh, didn't you eat a bat once, Daddy?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, years ago, and so on." But the kids are young. So they promptly went to school and said, "My daddy ate a bat, and now there's a pandemic everywhere." It's like it was my fault. It's like, yes, I ate a bat, but it wasn't.
Patient zero.
It wasn't
Patient zero is right there. Patient zero is right there. Anybody watching? It's right there.
YouTube's gonna definitely flag us now.
Oh yeah. So yeah, We've ended up on so many international watch lists after this last hour, haven't we? Ugh. I do think it's why I enjoy coming on your show, though.
Yeah, just to give us
Oh,
a
you
trailer.
guys are excellent fun.
Cool.
You guys are excellent fun.
Likewise.
Germ who says, this is Shauna Fitzgerald, who Trev might remember, but Alicia wants me to say hi for her, so hi from Alicia.
Yes, Shauna, I remember you. Hello, Alicia. I did tell some of the locals that I was going to be on, and a lot of the locals do follow me on. I put up a little video on my different socials. Once I just talked to you, Michael, and I realised I was on 2 hours earlier than I thought. I put on a little video on the social saying, "Oh, I'm on. Everyone tune in to Children of Primus in 15 minutes. I'll be on." So obviously, some of them have seen that and they've tuned over to say, "Alicia, what are you doing? Stop stalking me. I'm not interested in dating your mother and becoming your new dad." Okay? It's not.
There's some
happening.
history.
It's not. I sometimes work at the local high school, and all the kids are like, "I wish you were my dad. Do you want to see a photo of my mum?" And of course, all the local mums, they go home and go, "Look at Mr. Hopkins. Look at a picture of him," and they all go, "Here, take this photo to him." And I've just had to bring the gate down. I've had to say, "No, look, married. I'm not interested in your hot single mum. I'm not interested in your mum that's married but is kind of looking to expand her horizons." So it's a constant pain. I'll tell you. It's why I've got a lock on the front gate.
That in the room.
My wife Jess is walking behind me because she wants to.
She's one of my favourite students. So hi, Alicia. So, sorry,
come
go
more
on.
this way. She wants to show off her giant popcorn that her friend gave her. This used to be full. She was just like, "Did you tell them about my giant popcorn?" And I was like, "No." She was like, "Let me show them my giant popcorn. That used to be a full bag." She got it for her birthday.
I ate all of this on my own.
Yes, thank you, Jess.
Give it a round. That's a lot of popcorn. That's a lot of popcorn to eat.
Our guest
fair
applauded
effort.
for you.
Yeah.
She grabbed her M&Ms and said, "Fuck yeah," and walked away back into the bedroom. Oh, they're mini M&Ms. That's an important distinction, actually. I sound like I'm joking, but I'm not. They're full-size bags of mini M&Ms.
Double the amount.
Right.
Yeah. One thing on the show is you get used to Jess kind of cutting in at random intervals to say amazing things. So
popcorn is one of my favorite snacks. I have one of the 8-cup movie theater popcorn machines in the downstairs.
Yeah. Oh, that's one of her favorites. That's why she got a giant bag of popcorn, because people know that's like her favorite thing. So they were like, "Have this thing that we nicked from a movie theater," just straight up, apparently.
Cool. So one of the comments before we end the evening, Germ says, she says, "I promise I'm not a stalker and I've never done that. My mom's a married woman."
That's something a stalker would say.
Alicia knows she's one of my favourites. No, I know her mum's married. Her mum works at her older brother came on my radio show once. They're a lovely family. Oh, look out! Now Cody. Yeah, Cody. Boy. So Cody just turned 18 the other day. If this show goes on much longer, you're just going to get. They're all doing the rounds now. So quick, Big Angry Trev's online live. So g'day, Code. It's good to see you, mate.
Well, definitely you have to come hang out with us again. Well, Germ says, no, she's the favorite, she says. And
Right.
Rev J's Mental Journey says, howdy, Children of Primus, Toywork panel, and everyone in the chat.
Thanks for tuning in, Jen.
So everyone's showing up just as we're about to end the evening.
Yeah.
That's it.
Where were you like an hour ago?
Well, again, with all the people that know me tuning in, I really, because Michael told me the times that I misjudged them. I thought I was on 2 hours later, so I put up a little group thing on, I think it was Facebook, like a little event thing on my Transformatorium page saying, "Hey, I'll appear on Children of Primus at this time." So it could be a lot of these people are tuning in now because of the original time I told them. So, but yeah, no, look, honestly, I've had a great time again as always. You guys are very, very fun to talk to. And usually I feel a little awkward doing these, like where it's 5 or 6 people all chatting at once. But last time when I did the show 6 months ago, I was exactly like this time. I felt very relaxed. Everyone's really polite. Everyone's funny. Everyone's having a good chat. So, yeah, no, I've had a really good time again. So I do appreciate you having me back on.
I think a secret to our format is there's so many people up here at a time that there's no pressure on any one person to be really on really hard. So, because we all contribute enough that each person can kind of just take it easy.
Yeah, it's a very good format you guys have got going. Unfortunately, so when you guys are on, it's Sunday night where you are, but it's the middle of the day on Monday where I am.
Yeah,
Oh,
so, time disparage, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but because I work in education, when school holidays come around, that's when I'm free. So, and I know last school holidays I contacted Michael, but I think I did it with 2 days' notice or something. Whereas this time I remembered last time I self-contacted you, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago and said, hey, I've got these dates coming up and so on. So, yeah, it could be in another 3 months' time when the next school holidays are around. If you feel like having me back on, I'd be more than happy to come back because you guys are a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely.
And now I have to start saving to go attend a wedding in the US. Oh, I want to see it. I want to see it so bad. It sounds absolutely...
If nothing else, Toy Warp is going to come and make a video and take some pictures for us. So,
but that's the thing. If I went, like you said, some of your US people are going to be there. I wouldn't be there on my own. You guys could chaperone. So when all the American ladies hear this incredibly sexy Aussie accent.
Listen, man, I don't know about chaperoning your feet with Adam's apples, okay? I might have to pay me for that, all right?
I'll tell you what, I'll keep my shoes on the entire time. That way, it's keeping all the fans away.
Promises.
What is it? Is it the 30s? Are people losing their minds over heels being shown now? Is that where we're at as a society?
What was that? Mr. Burns going, work those calves, baby. Take me with you, Trevor. I've got an entourage now I can bring with me. Excellent. I've got people that carry my bags and bring me drinks and stuff. And sit there. I'll get like a Professor X hover chair and just, get people while I eat mutton and drink shots and try not to flirt with Decepticon-themed bridesmaids. That sounds like a hell of a night, dude. That sounds like a hell of a night.
Easy there,
and one of those bridesmaids is single and Cajun.
Stop! I can only get so erect.
All I have to hear is like, and first we charge the card, and then we...
Yeah, that's just that's not a mutant power. That's just something Cajuns can do.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, I figured, again, all I know of cages is crawdads and Gambit. And
You don't happen to play a saxophone, do you?
No.
Well, you'd have her eaten out of your hand then.
No. I am. I am
He's
married.
like, I got 2 months to learn. I got 2 months to learn.
I'll tell you this, I've been lucky enough to find a wonderful wife who let me build this entire thing. I'm not going to be jeopardizing that anytime soon.
No.
So,
Exactly.
oh, that looks cool. Oh, let's just do this for the last 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
I just redid the.
I've said it many times before. My lady has contributed many things to this room, and every time she brings me one, she's like, "I saw this, and I know that this is what you were looking for, right?" And it doesn't matter if I have 0 or if I have 6. It's exactly the piece I've been looking for, and that's all she will ever know.
That's the exact
I can't believe you found that, baby. That's exactly the piece I've been looking for months.
Now that you've said
That's
that publicly.
exactly right. Does Trev play the flute? I used to play the recorder when I was little. Yeah, the recorder, which is a really, really bad version of the flute that I don't know about over in Canada and the US, but here in Australia, they used to, every kid in grade 3 used to be made to play the recorder.
Same here.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
same in
It was
Canada.
called a
Yeah.
flutophone when I was in school.
Listen, Trev plays the meat flute too. You just got to dig deep on that OnlyFans page, okay? Trust me.
That's the next stream. That will be the next stream.
Yeah, next stream on OnlyFans.
Don't worry, I don't think we're going to be here for that next one.
Oh, curiosity killed the cat. I got to see it now.
Shush.
Things you can't look away from.
Killing brain cells live.
That's right.
On that note,
Oh, dear.
thank you once again, Trevor, for coming out and hanging out with us. You know, in your Monday afternoon on our Sunday evening.
That's all right. It was my pleasure once again. So you guys are a lot of fun. I think we talked more life than Transformers this time around, really, but that's perfectly
That's where
good with
it went.
me.
It was a combination of both.
Yeah, it works.
That's it.
And a good time was had by
That's
all.
it.
When life is
That's it.
transformed.
No, very, very.
Yeah, and stick
No,
around after
very
the show
much
for a minute,
appreciate
Trev.
it.
Let me get that address.
Cool. So
I shall do. Shall do.
as we said, we say to all our one at the end of every stream. So like and subscribe to our channel, like and subscribe to Big Angry Trev, and share it amongst your friends. And as we say to all of our at the end of our stream, to all are one.
So
all are one.
All are one.
All one.
And now we're done.
We now return you to the Children of Primus.